that's kind of where I'm at. Like I just feel like it's like,
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Dose of Dysfunction. I'm your life coach, and with me is the resident redneck.
howdy, y'all.
And tonight we have Dave.
Hello, hello.
Dave Frobisher, right?
Frobisher. Yeah,
Yeah, Frobisher.
yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Brock, I was going to let you screw that up.
Good old Matt's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky me.
Uh-huh.
The excitement he shows with that.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
Conspiracy Matt.
I was going to say,
Conspiracy Matt.
I'm being nice here.
Yeah. With him in it. To where the thing about him is he'd always start something and say, oh, okay, I'm just going to let you just look into it. Like he'd always put it on you to actually do the legwork to into any conspiracy. It's like, which I think is kind of funny because he doesn't actually explain why he believes them. He just yeah.
I love it.
He's like, just trust me. Look into this. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I kind of got that the second
that
time.
Feels
told
like
me that,
if the cops or the government shows up, that gives him plausible deniability. Hey, I never told him anything.
I didn't tell him shit.
Yeah, I don't think Matt's on their radar or anything. So
you never know until somebody gets hauled out of a house in handcuffs.
Yeah, right. And then everybody else gets like fucking injected with something that makes you forget what happened the last 48 hours.
Pushed into a moving black van.
Exactly. Where'd you find him? He was at the park eating ice cream on bench 4.
Yeah.
We seen his ass. We got him.
That's awesome. Do you have a topic?
I don't have any this week. No, I have pretty much run a dry of all.
Last week we both had a couple things. You had a wedding go to. I had a family reunion.
Wasn't there? Yeah, it was Memorial Day.
Yeah. It was Memorial Day weekend, so we took a weekend off. But
and I don't think it was necessarily anything we thought about too. I think we more or less it was just kind of like, oh yeah, hey, so we're not doing it this weekend.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. But one of the cool things that did happen was we did finally get a listener in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
So
that puts us
nice.
50 states.
If you listen again, whoever you are from Rhode Island, we appreciate you because you helped complete the.
Actually, I have.
It's pretty awesome. Now you got to get on all.
And they consider another one, and I'm not sure. It's like you got something in your hands.
I have a guy who did a tattoo on me today that I'm gonna give him a shout out. It's Sean Wick. He performs it, or I guess he does his work at Boise Tattoo. Did my smiley face today.
Yeah, I was gonna say
my
that
90s
new
smiley face.
Yeah. Vibrant compared to all your other tattoos.
It's the all the ones you can see. It actually looks 10 times So we like.
All right, we're going again. So we had a bump there. Anyway, back
Okay.
to your shout out to Sean
So,
Wick doing
yeah.
your
To Sean
tattoo.
Wick, he was a great art. I mean, all in all, he had everything dropped. I mean, it's not smiley face, but I
Yeah.
mean, ultimately, the detail that he put into it was really good. He made a couple small modifications, but it is the smiley face out of the DoD sticker. So it, I mean, it looks good. I like it. It looks like it belongs, and he did a really, like I said, he did a really good job. But if you ever shake his hand, be ready. Because that fucking hand is like, you wouldn't look at him and be like, your hand, and you're just like, holy shite. It was like, oh my god. But no, it was good. It was a good experience. Everybody in the shop was super nice, super pleasant to deal with. He was pretty, I mean, he wasn't like overly talkative. About right. It was a good deal. So
Good dude.
nice.
To other than that,
Necessarily have a topic, but I did run into. I have a
How-
fuck, man, got me pretty good. So we because it
Like you're talking like the recording software.
but we were back. So we've had a few of these kind of technical. There's some truth to that, but so I've got the go, and Casey's about to get really mad here.
did it do it again?
Yeah.
Silly little Peter. That's had that tattoo. It's a silly little Peter on their
Silly
picture
little
head.
Peter.
Yeah, well, we're back. So you were talking about silly little Peters and
Yeah,
Peckers.
yeah. Dave just
Yeah.
admitted that he has one tattoo and it says hot rod on his shaft.
Yep.
Does that have flames?
Naturally.
Like classic hot
Yeah.
rod
Yeah,
flames. That would be
it's gotta
legit.
have some
I
flames.
mean, is there any other way to do it?
No, I mean
Yeah.
that's a
Your
shit.
testicles are tattooed to look like back tires,
Oh,
right?
Jesus, how would that be, right?
You peel out rubber all the time.
Now, would you put some like track marks down the inside of your thighs? So the burnout marks down the inside of your
Yeah.
thighs?
Any woman that you have sex
Any
with has to do that on the inside of their thighs so they know that
Oh.
hot rod was there,
My God, that would be
We have some
hilarious.
Hot Wheels on standby just for her to.
right?
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, my wife the other day told me we needed to use toys in the bedroom. She got real mad when I ran my Hot Wheels over her titties.
Oh, so there was a show once upon a time called Kids Say the Darnest Things, right? Bill Cosby did
Why
it.
does he say it like we've never heard of it?
I know, right? He does. He does that all the time because he
Be-
thinks he's this old grandpa or some
Right.
shit.
Because I am older.
Ultimately, his
years.
oldest kid is only like 9 years older than mine. Not like they're separated by decades or
Right.
anything.
No, they're not. But that being said, I also waited a lot later in life to have kids than you.
That's true.
So, like where you are now,
Yeah, when
is like when I had my first one, or I should say when my wife had our first one.
Well, okay, yeah. So
Because
because
if
I
I was
had
able to pop
I
one
had
out, I'd be
Maggie at
rich.
28. I guess no 27.
I was 30 when, or 29. Anyway, yeah. I
Yeah.
was. So, but anyway, so the other night, because my kids, like all kids, say some weird shit from time to time.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
nope, learning that.
Yeah. So Rucker, it's dinner time, and my wife has made. They wanted hot dogs, so she makes him a hot dog, and she says to him, "Do you want it with a bun?" And he looks at her and he says, "This is great." He says, "Only crazy people eat a hot dog without a bun." This is what he says. So she's like, "Okay."
Sorry, how old is he?
He's 7.
Okay.
So it's
Oh my god, it'd been hilarious if all three of you sat down next to him with no buns.
no. It gets better. So
he's just sitting there like, wait a minute.
now, so he decided I think he wanted to eat in his room or something.
Okay.
Which this happens. So
Yeah.
we let him eat in his room, no big deal. So a little while later, we go to clean up plates and stuff like that, right? He's done with his dinner. My wife comes walking back into the kitchen with a plate. And what do you think was on said plate?
The bun.
Just the bun. Hence why she asked him, because a lot of times he won't eat it. But he was so matter of fact of only crazy people eat a hot dog without a bun. Now, me, I wanted to point it out, but my wife wouldn't let me. She's like, "No."
Oh my god,
no,
I would have.
gotta
I would have
go.
been like, hey, you little crazy fucker, come here.
Yeah. So,
hey, you crazy little motherfucker, get over here.
yeah, it's like, so
Are you telling me you're gonna be one of those crazy people that like lights Roman candles in a shitter at a fucking rodeo, or like one of them crazy people I'm gonna see on the news, and there's gonna be people asking me how many people you killed? Like, what's?
I'm half wondering which one I've got there. I mean, this could go either way. So
you're gonna be a psycho little motherfucker on your big wheel out there, fucking selling sugar,
right? You'd be like, "I got your fix, homie."
Roll up on his trike in a trench coat.
Oh, dude, he
You
would
want Laffy
too.
Taffy, or you want caramel?
I'll do
Like
you
this
one better
fucking-
though. He'd have the like Tom Cruise risky business sunglasses on,
Oh yeah.
and then he would have the fingerless gloves. He has a set of fingerless gloves that he
Yeah.
rolls around with.
I'm sure.
So he's not far off of the trench coat and all of that, I don't think. Anyway, I love him to death. But to go along with that, it was yesterday I asked him a question, and I can't even physics today.
Physics.
That's okay. They dropped my 3-year-old's hot chocolate in front of her today at Sherry's, right?
Yeah.
They set it down. She goes, "Where's the sprinkles?" And my mom and my wife were like, "Maggie, shh, quit, don't. That's rude." And I was like, "Where the fuck is there sprinkles?"
Yeah, you're like,
I was
"No, I
like,
think this
"Uh-oh,
is a
we're gonna have a
legitimate-"
fucking problem, lady."
I'm with Maggie. That's
yeah, I'm
legit.
totally with her too. Now the way she said it was like, "Hey, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? You're fucking up here. There's no sprinkles on my fucking hot chocolate." All right, but the way I was thinking about it was like, this is bullshit. Like, give me my fucking sprinkles. I got whipped cream and hot chocolate sprinkles, bitch.
Oh, I got that was rude by my boss the other day.
Really?
Yeah, well, we had temp workers, and
Oh yeah.
it was, "Hey, where do they need to go?" And I had not asked their names. I said, "You and you go with them." And he was like, "That was rude." And like, so I had to be like, "I'm sorry." And your name, Renee. Renee, can you go with? It's like,
yeah, fuck that.
yeah. So
Names. The people don't need names.
no.
You get a name when you earn it.
Exactly.
Yes.
You
See?
get the
Yes.
the Chinese name.
Yeah.
Hey you.
Yeah.
Until you've earned.
Or like you'll
Hey, what
be
the fuck is
number
your
one
name?
and you'll be number 2 for the
Uh-huh.
day.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's how the Japanese do it.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
So, but no, what
True.
speaking, just that's kind of where I had some fun kid moments. How was your wedding you went to? Oh,
It was a wedding.
it was stressful.
Dude, it's super stressful. It's always stressful because in like this case, it's Kara's sister, right? So it's like this thing. It's a spectacle, and she's of course the golden child
Mm.
because she watched all the rest of the idiots make the mistakes, and she was like, "Yep, not doing that."
Oh, that's good.
Right? So she's the golden child, and we had to travel to Round Valley for the wedding, and I had to build a cupcake stand 3 fucking times in a week because the first time it was crooked, and I was like, "You bitch!" So I undid it and fucking put it all back together, and I was like, perfect, right? Like I had it all done. It looked great. This is how this normally goes. I get these things fucking hand custom built, whatever, right? I get them all done, and I look at them. I'm like, perfect. That's the best it's gonna be, right? Then I go to transport it, and it's like, motherfucker won't fit in my camper. Great. Now it's gonna have to go in the back seat. Oh, motherfucker won't fit in the back seat. Now I have to disassemble part of it so it'll fucking ride. So I got the camper all loaded up. I've got everything in. It took forever and a fucking day to light the refrigerator in the camper. I'm fucking dying. I'm sweating. I'm pissed off. Whatever. Right. We leave Thursday night. I'm like, fuck this. So I spend my next like fucking, I think it was hour and 30 minutes, hour and 40 minutes, whatever, headed up to the cabin there in Round Valley. And it was, for whatever reason, the wife and I we seem to talk pretty decent in these trips. And when she starts talking, I normally lay into the accelerator and I can't hear shit. So it's just like, yeah. And so then we
You're awful.
But no, we had good conversation all the way up, and the wedding went pretty seamlessly. I've never actually been at a wedding where you stood for the whole ceremony,
Oh wow.
but it literally took about 5.5 minutes.
Oh,
That's
thank
good.
God.
I was like,
yeah.
because
like,
the guy doing so, the best part too is the guy who was actually hitching the two of them together was a minister by internet. One of those, hey bro, you should marry us. Can you like get on the interweb and get your license thing? That kind of thing,
Yep.
right?
oh wow.
The bride's uncle and the bride's best friend's husband, both legitimate pastors. Like both of them. Right? This guy goes and gets his thing on the internet and marries them.
Are you serious?
That's
Yeah,
what love is
actually,
about.
her uncle is the one who married me and Kara. He was our
you
pastor.
have somebody in the family that
Yeah.
you could use.
Oh yeah.
And no.
No, and it was somebody. It was his side, I think. It was a really good. Well, it was his brother-in-law, basically. It's his
Oh.
sister's husband,
Okay.
and he's known him forever and a day. And that it was kind of like, you know what? They're both on their second marriage, so they're just like, let's just fucking throw this thing together, ragtag it, and fucking move on. Like, who gives a shit,
Okay.
Here's what I will tell you though: if any one of my friends decided that they weren't going to come to my wedding because there was a little rain or a chance of rain, fucking stick it, bro. Don't call me, don't text me, just stay the fuck out. I don't need. If you're not willing to fucking come up and hang out, and get drunk in the rain with me on fucking. It was. I mean, ultimately, it was an awesome wedding. Like the weather held out and everything.
Oh, good.
But like 3/4 or half of their guests didn't show up because they thought it was going to rain and they didn't want to deal with it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, yeah, at that point, you don't want to show up to my wedding because there could be rain and you don't think that I haven't thought this through. We had fucking covers on everything. I
Well,
mean, there was roofs and shit. And
I was going to say, most everybody factors the wedding, especially it was an outdoor ceremony. Yeah, you factor the wedding and are prepared. So
we had plan B. We had plan C. We even had a plan D. It was like, well, at this point, we all just go home and y'all get married at the fucking courthouse.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That's a cop out.
I mean, there was everything in place to do all of this. What pissed me off was like, really, these are your friends, like these are your closest people, and they're not going to show up for your wedding in the rain. I'll fucking show up naked in the rain. Fuck it. I won't have any laundry left. Then fuck it. We'll just go for it.
Yeah, that's
You
a
know,
way to make sure everybody stays home.
right? No, I mean that's the thing is it's like if you can't pissing people off on TikTok for whatever reason they can't stream our shit. Actually, it's Anthony Jacobson.
Oh, yeah, he works Nissan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony's a good dude.
But either which direction, it's like it's a fucking very important day, and we've gone out of our way to invite you. Unless you're got some sort of personal shit going on, the rain shouldn't fucking scare you away from it.
No, that's stupid. That's a cop out.
That pissed me off. I was like, okay, fuck all of them. Let's get hammered and have
no
a party.
Sorry, how far is Round Valley from like say,
Round Valley is right as you come out of the canyon on 55. So you come out of the canyon, you hit that big long straightaway right before you go up the hill. That's Round Valley.
That is total redneck directions, right?
Oh
there.
yeah. I would give you the amount of time. Like I want to say Round Valley, no wait, no, just me driving up there in the wife's car is about an hour and 15 minutes.
Gotcha, yeah.
So
Oh, that's
about
not bad.
halfway
Yeah,
from
I
here
mean,
to
yeah,
McCall.
that's not.
No, and that's I mean, like I said, 30 minutes of that was just me standing on the throttle to climb hills and shit. So I didn't even hear what she said in the first place. But
Oh, jeez.
no, it gets stressful because like we've done shit. I think Kara and I together with all of our friends and stuff, we've either helped or planned like 10 weddings and orchestrated them through that day, right?
So
No,
when you
you're
start
supposed
in
to
a
be
company,
Yeah.
Huh?
I said when you start in a company,
I thought about it too. And my biggest issue is I don't have the property to build the fucking big old,
oh,
wedding shack on.
the wedding shack. Oh
Uh-huh.
my god.
But
Can we call it Redneck Weddings R Us?
yeah, right.
Your choice of camo.
Well,
Yeah.
so like I've built fucking at least 6 cupcake displays, right? For
Really?
weddings. Yeah. I actually enjoy it. It's kind of fun. You chop up a bunch of wood, nail it together, and drink beer and fucking just
Yeah,
whatever.
no, and not only that, it's the time you get to hang out in the shop and not get yelled at because
Exactly.
you're
Yes,
you're
there you
doing
go.
it for the wedding.
Oh yeah,
It's not like there's a
there's
purpose.
an excuse. It's not a why are you doing that? Well, I think it'll look good on the backyard. Well, it can fucking wait. I need you to come in here and do some shit. No,
Yeah,
I'm fucking doing this shit for the wedding right now. So if you guys could fuck off.
Yeah, no,
Oh shit.
100%.
No, go inside. He's doing stuff for the wedding. Come on, go inside. But no, I mean I've built at least 6 or 7 cupcake stands. I've built a couple of cake stands. I don't know, I've done a shit ton of fucking centerpieces.
Yeah.
Candles inside the fucking wood log, and all this
Oh,
shit.
damn.
Everybody has their own thing that they want, right? But we've done all of that. We've orchestrated weddings to the point where it's like when we show up and people are like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna do this at this time." It's like, you think maybe you ought to start on that a little sooner? And they're like, "Oh no, I'll get it done." And I'm like, "No, let's just kind of do that now." And they're like, "Oh, well, you know what? Maybe later I might not be readily available. So let's just get it done now, and you have to like coax them and you have to like sales pitch them on the shit.
Oh, that's
And then
awful.
it ends up being like 2-3 hours and like, oh my God, I'm so glad we did this now. And I'm like, yeah,
You think?
I know. You just move on with life.
Yeah.
But all of my wife, how great of a florist I am. Because it was like, I'm standing there looking at him like I know it. And I know it's wrong, but you don't know what it is. So I'm going to stand here for 5 minutes. And after that 5 minutes, I'm just going to take the shit away from you. And I'm going to make it right. Just stand back there and go, wow, that really does a difference. Because I've been the guy standing there going, I don't know. And did it to me. And I was like, that did look a lot better.
Right?
You
The
know?
people who know what they're But it's funny to see a redneck like you.
The
Tail?
floor.
Yeah, that's okay. Because of the amount of time I've spent with my wife for fashion,
Mm-hmm.
I pick up on a lot of that
Does
stuff.
does this flush me out? Or whatever it was you said last week. Does
Yeah.
this make me flush?
Yeah. Does it wash me out?
Oh, wash me
Wash
out.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
My yellow shirt washed out
Your skin.
your skin.
Yeah.
So, but
It probably wouldn't have if there was less gray hair.
dude, and I love my gray. I've adopted my gray. Oh, what a horrible shot. Anyway, I've adopted the fact that I'm gray, but I've been hearing a lot this week. Man, look how much grayer you got this week alone.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, fuck you guys. You're just jealous.
Actually, I seen a photo of you the other day on the Facebook, and I was like, what the fuck? Because it was back when you had no mustache
Mm-hmm.
and you had black hair. And I was like,
Yeah, I had dark hair.
hmm.
Yeah. No, once upon a time. Now it's just gray. It's just straight up gray. I mean, that's the worst. I sit in a room with somebody 20 plus years older than me that has darker hair than I do that doesn't dye their hair. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Joe. I walk in
Oh,
Joe.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude's in his mid 60s and he looks like he's 50 and still has less gray hair than I do. And I come rolling in.
I still think Joe is a robot.
He's a robot.
He does. I mean, just sometimes the way he moves and how he talks and just kind of jives along with things. You're like, play some disco, buddy, because that guy right there, he's a robot.
I mean, he can shuck and jive, that's for sure.
I'm just saying, he looks like, I mean, sometimes he gets to going and you're just like, look at how his joints move. They just like, and like go like that. And you're just like, dude's a robot. Guarantee it. He's an alien robot.
The alien robot.
Yeah.
Is he a lizard
He is,
person?
because I bet you
Oh.
I bet you that man sleeps very little. And because he's like, work.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I stress myself outside of work about work, but he's just always work.
Yeah,
Like
no,
the way he is.
he's 100% work.
You get to his level, like in a industry or company or whatever, and then like that's
what
your,
you do.
That's your life.
If you want
Yeah.
longevity, you also
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
understand he's done that position for over 15 years.
Mm.
So to do that, yeah, you have to be, you live it. You decide that work is what you do. But he still does a lot of other shit. I went in there the other day and he's showing me pictures of the new baby deer that came walking across where his
The what?
cabin.
Oh, baby deer.
Yeah,
I was like, baby gear? What? They're putting
Maybe.
babies in these things now?
No,
Holy
baby-
shit.
No, because he has a cabin and he has like the camera stuff set
Right,
up there.
right.
Yeah, you'll go in there to ask him a question, and then occasionally be like, "Oh, check this out," and he'll bring it up, and you'll see the deer walk by, and he's like, "Oh, look, the fresh one, first baby of the year," you know.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "What'd you need?" And you're like,
Fuck, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I
I've been
forgot
watching
what-
deer now.
See, I think that's the trick. See, it's the diversion. If he thinks you're
Uh-huh.
gonna come in there and bitch, he shows you like he shows you something else. And then
Oh,
you-
shit. Hold on. This just happened. You know, it's a clip from fucking last year.
Oh, he
Click,
totally
click,
would.
click. There you go. Look.
It's like, I get this guy out of my office before he can complain about something.
Right.
Right.
So, Dave, I
What's-
think we need to interview you.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I was going to
Yeah,
say. I know, Dave, you were looking for a job. Did you ever find one?
No, still
Still
working.
hanging it?
Yeah, it's been about 3 months that I haven't been working. Yeah,
Really?
other than selling my body, but
Ooh, you
I've
got the
made about
OnlyFans going?
$12 so far, so it's been-
$12.
Yeah.
so it's been good.
Feet pics?
See, I'm so
Yeah.
trying to get on that
Feet
train.
pics.
Dude, there's this thing I was rolling across TikTok and I
Uh.
found some dude and he was like, if you're going to be a foot artist, you have to have one of these things. And it's this tub looking thing. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be gross, but I got to see what the fuck it is, right?
Right.
And they throw 3 bricks of what looked like to me to be wax in here. And I was like, what the fuck? And he like dips his foot. And I'm like, God, dude, your feet are fucking gross.
He's gonna
Like, it's
peel
just
off all his
hairy man feet, you know? And I'm
dead
like,
skin and shit. Yeah.
so then he like pulls his foot out and sticks it back in the thing and then pulls it out and does like this. I think he calls it a double dip or a triple dip or whatever. And then sure shit, it like hardens around his foot. And then he's like peeling this shit off his feet. And I'm like, I could fucking do that. My feet don't have half as much hair as his do. I got
See,
this. I
maybe I
could
could,
fucking. I
'cause-
could do the foot thing.
Yeah. My stepmom always told me I had hobbit feet because I have hair on like the tops of my feet and
Yeah.
toes and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
So,
this guy had like
yeah.
straight up.
But I also, yeah, got hair on knuckles and stuff. I guess.
Yeah, yeah. No, Dave is a hairy beast.
Yeah,
That is an animal
how
there
it
you
played
don't want to
out.
see naked in the wild.
that's for sure. You don't want to see it naked anytime.
Three
really.
three like beams of light coming off of him, two are his eyeballs.
Also, like at the beach, like I'm super pale. So I'm one of those guys, like my shirt off, it's like blinding people.
I can't believe it, but I can see through the jungle. Yeah. Well, no, and your brother's the same way, dude. Like his facial hair and shit, like everything's so
yeah.
thick, and he's got the luscious fucking
Yeah, that was something.
locks of love he's got
Yeah.
going on up there.
Was my saying in our family was that we're the missing link between apes and humans because of how hairy. we are. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Huh.
We had another missing link, the baby squatch.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one hairy dude
Squatch.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess you guys are cousins of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's because he is. He's straight up. He's a squatch.
Yeah.
Like there's. I mean, he like takes his hat off, and you're like, dude, how the fuck you get hair down onto your forehead? To the point where it's like he has a 3 head. Like that's how far his hair goes, man.
He straight up looks like he belongs in a 70s porn, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like Ron Jeremy-esque.
like if Tom Selleck's mustache was the hair all over him, right? Like that's just. I mean, it is, dude, and it's like you could probably shoot the baby squatch and not get to him with low caliber rifles.
What is that, made out of Kevlar?
Exactly, dude. That shit's got to be interwoven together and shit. And he's got a girlfriend now.
Oh my god, that was funny.
Someone for everyone, I suppose.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
No,
He needed somebody to clean out the sink drain for him.
She seemed really nice and everything.
Oh yeah.
It was just funny. He comes wandering up at the softball game now. He
Uh-huh.
just wanders up, and there she is, and she just kind of was like, "Dude, you gonna He's like, "Hey guys." You're like,
Nothing.
you have this person
No,
standing
her,
next to
she's
you.
not important. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah, don't worry about this lady
worry.
you brought to the ball game. I mean, we're not gonna worry about it, you know.
Yeah, you can't do that with me around. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna start talking to her and be like, "Who are you? Oh, you're the girlfriend." You
You're the
notice
reason
though-
he doesn't do the podcast
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
You notice though he's been playing very good and getting better and better, but I feel like he stepped up just a little bit more with her watching.
He tried, but I think that's what cost him his fucking couple of shitty hits.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's a thing though.
Oh yeah.
Like of
Oh, it's a huge thing.
people playing better,
Mm-hmm.
trying a little harder, just inching out that little bit more if they're
Yeah.
someone's watching. Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying hard enough to the point where it cost him a couple of base hits because he was trying to swing the bat so fucking hard. It was like, dude, just relax and hit the ball. You'll
Just
be
hit the ball.
fine.
Yeah.
And he's over here fucking trying to do work, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there it is. You know, and I can't blame him. I did the same shit, but it had nothing to do with working harder or trying to play harder. I just was like, man, the team's not fired up, and I need to fire somebody up. I'm gonna fucking smack the shit out of one of these. And it was just like, yep, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I get a little rough sometimes, but no, I felt the same way. But it's all good.
Nothing's worse than when you step up and you do like everything, right? You're like, no matter what it is, right? In life, you step up and you're like, oh, I'm going to fucking, this is it. I'm going to grand slam this bitch, right? And you strike out, right? And nothing's worse than that. It doesn't matter who's watching or anything. Like in your own
Oh yeah,
way,
in your
you
own
just
brain.
beat the piss out of yourself.
And
You're
well,
just like, you stupid
I
fuck.
think
What were
it's
you
a-
doing? You know?
It's a universal, or it's a message to be like, you know what, you could use a little humility right now. Like maybe let's
Like a
Yeah.
fucking, hey,
Let's
you're
get some
doing great.
character
We're
growth
gonna trip
going.
you up
Yeah.
type of fucking thing to make you build some humbleness.
Yeah,
Quit being such a jack off.
we're gonna reset your. Well, everybody
Yeah.
needs dropped a peg, right?
Oh,
I
for
would
sure.
I would definitely agree with that. I've been dropped a peg and it sucks,
Oh yeah,
but it makes you 10 times the person you were,
Yeah,
right? Like that ultimately builds you in a way that you couldn't have built yourself without it happening, right?
yeah. You have to have
That's
the
true.
failure in there when you need that moment when you walk in. I call it smartest guy in the room, right? You
Mhm.
walk in, I'm the smartest guy in the room. I know it. I've got it, and then somebody makes you look like a total idiot, and you're like, oh shit, I don't got it.
Mhm.
I better go back and hone my skills a little bit more. You
Right.
know.
And
Well,
that's kind of like in the whole sense of that form, like, and everybody has their own analogy for it, you know. Whatever sport they play is normally or follow, that's normally the one, right?
Right.
In Dave's case, I believe it's Uncle Sam. He's the ringleader.
the ringleader.
But no, I mean you always have that. It was super humbling to sit down when we did that 10-minute podcast for your brother.
Yeah, the bowling thing.
Yeah, it was super humbling to actually hear how he felt a little bit about how he did, but also about how he seen us do. I was like, man, I don't really think you understand, dude. I just throw the ball and I don't know if it works or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But you know, that's one of those things. It was super humbling to be like, okay, well, I mean, now I can't be a jackass for any reason. I mean, not that I really was. It was like
Right.
I don't feel like I'm any like from here on out. I have to start realizing that everything that's going wrong is my fault. It's nothing to do with my equipment. It's nothing to do with. I mean, yeah, occasionally you go up there and you trip or something. I mean,
Well,
it
yeah.
happens to me once a season.
Yeah.
But you know,
At
it just it was super humbling to realize that wow, some of the mechanics is what is going to get you better, but now I have to realize that I have to go home and look in the mirror and be like, you're the reason why this score is so fucking low. You know, because at this point I've got the equipment. It all works well. I've made it work well. It's here and there. It's not all the time. And so it was super humbling to kind of do that 10 minutes. I was like, man, too bad this couldn't have been longer. It would have been like, you sorry piece of shit, get
Oh.
up and start bowling better, you fucker, you know? Because it was super fun. And to see how he looked up to us, even though we're not fucking pros by any means.
No,
It was like,
absolutely not.
oh shit.
Yeah, but when you find those people, they're better than you, right? You acknowledge them as being better than you, regardless of how they feel about themselves. Yeah,
Right.
you look up to them, and so and most people then typically forget though being the ones because they don't have that view of themselves, right?
Right.
They're it's humbling to be like, oh shit, you mean somebody looks at me like, I actually have something to offer them.
Well, that's it's
Right.
kind of an interesting point actually to go down that road, and it's just the fact that I mean, as a person, like as a sentient living thing, it's like I can only ever live like my life experience to where it's like as much as you want to be, or even if you want to be very little, everyone is self-involved, self-absorbed,
Oh yeah.
self-aware. Like you know what I mean? Everything's about yourself because I mean ultimately, like I'm only living my life. To where I said, I think that's a great point that you make. Just the fact that I'm always thinking about me and how, like, me, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, how I think about myself, how I feel about myself, stuff like that. And then when people throw out, things about you that are kind of unexpected,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, I had no idea someone
Right.
perceived me in that way. It's just kind of interesting. It's really wild when that happens. I think that.
Yeah, and that I think is a pretty good reflection of what type of person you are, because the person that is like, oh shoot, like it's humbling to them and they take it in as a compliment, but it's hard to take that compliment because they're like, I'm not that good. Why are you putting this on me?
Right.
So you've got that person who's very humble about it, but then you've got like oh yeah, lay it on me. I know.
Yeah. See, I would almost rather somebody tell me what I'm doing wrong than tell me what I'm doing right.
Well, that goes into. Do you
Oh,
know that, like, I think
here
it's
we go.
70% of our thoughts
Hey, teach.
Yes, I do believe. Well, I had the brain sheet somewhere, but it's like
Fucking
70%.
how dare you forget it?
No, I think it's in my bag.
Oh.
Like 70% of our thoughts are negative.
That's
I
probably
could
about
believe
right.
that.
Isn't that wild though? Of all of it, we are inherently as human beings negative. Like in
Yeah.
our thought process, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I
Yeah.
get it though, because think about it. If something happens to you bad,
well, it's about survival. Ultimately, I mean,
Mhm.
being an animal is ultimately about survival.
right? And if you think about it in the good sense of the form all the time, you're never going to survive.
No,
If you
because
if you
Well, if-
give the bear the benefit of the doubt, he will fucking eat you when the
Well,
berries dry
if you
up.
get complacent and you get lazy because there's like no adversity, no no struggles, nothing like that, or no consequence to things, whatever. It's like, boom, that's when you get eaten.
yeah,
Well,
no,
right.
It's like as an animal,
What
like
you
biologically.
what you
Yeah.
just said goes back to what we said. I think it was 3 weeks ago. A week or a week's what was it?
you love this quote. Why are you fucking
I
it
do,
up?
and I fuck it up so much.
Yeah.
A hard times make strong
Yes.
people. Strong people make
Good
easy
times. Yeah.
times. Easy times make weak people.
Weak people make hard times.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then the
Yeah.
whole cycle starts over again.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what you just said. And the funny part to me is what group of people took this poll where 70% of their thoughts were negative? Because I can tell you right now, anybody born after the year I was fucking born, okay,
no,
I mean, I'm gonna guess 90% of the time they think the world is fucking imploding because they need their safe spaces and their bunnies and their flowers and their marijuana and all this to fucking go about daily life.
well,
And I'm
but
like,
you have to think
just
about
go to
that
fucking
as
work, stupid.
an average, right? On average, 70% of your thoughts. So it's taking the happy-go-lucky guy who's about to get hit by the car because he's just is
Oh,
oblivious.
they'll stop for that
Yeah,
red
right.
light. I mean, who knows if they're drunk or paying attention?
Right.
Fuck it, or on their cell phone. Jesus Christ.
I think even more than that, like you touch on like it being like as an animal that we focus on negativity stuff for survival, but even then, as humans, it's like we're not. I mean, because we're elevated to a form of consciousness and understanding that it's not typical of any other animal.
Well, that's right. I mean, how many
and-
other animals sit down on the fucking couch
Right,
on
exactly.
Thursday and like, what do we
So-
watch?
so
Do we
consider
watch
that.
How Married
Yeah.
or Married How?
so,
You know?
so think of how industrialized and we'll say civilized everything is now to where it's I bet if the technology
I love your air
went
quotes
away.
with civilized.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well,
I
that-
love how he
that's-
threw it down with
Yeah.
a half an air quote and a
Like-
hand on a hip.
Yeah.
Like this
I'll
is something
say
my
it.
mom would do to me with a
Maybe.
wooden spoon. Get your ass in here right now, boy. And he's just like, mm-hmm.
No, it was a studded belt, but
ouch.
no, but I'm serious. Like it's one thing. If you take away the technology,
Hi, Carly.
like of our world anymore, I bet that would like go away drastically because you would just be focused on like I don't know, like just daily necessity type stuff.
I got
like
it better. I got it better. Tomorrow we close all fucking businesses. You're on your own, bitch. Figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
It will be fucking amazing. I have a basement. It's gonna be great. Because I'm just gonna run out and grab everything I fucking need for at least a little while, and then in here.
They're just gonna hole up in the basement.
Yep,
I'm just,
fucking a right.
I just think you talk about negativity, positivity, whatever. If you say everyone needs a place to stay,
Right.
whatever, and you could often maybe take it for granted that you even have like a building with four walls and a floor and all this stuff.
Right.
But imagine if you actually built your home or where you live.
Well, right.
Because you'd be a lot. I think you'd be a lot less. I mean, it's the because you construct it, because you built it, because you put work into something, then there's the negativity of things go. So I think the more people like do for themselves, the more they build for themselves, not necessarily literally,
Right.
physically, but then it goes away because I think we take everything for granted so
I
much
think-
that
I think it's all personal success, right? You do something and you feel like you succeeded at something, you're going to continue to work hard at being better, right?
Yeah, to a
But the
degree.
second you get hammered on and hammered on and hammered on, there's only two things you can do. You're either going to quit or you're going to work so fucking hard at it that that's all you do. And eventually you're going to beat whoever the fuck it is that shit on you. And that's, so I mean, there's different mentalities, but the biggest issue that I think you run into nowadays is the fact that when somebody gets shit on, they quit.
Yeah.
My dad wouldn't let me quit. Like I played baseball from the time I could get into the sport until clear into now. I'm still playing softball. Nobody's forcing me to do it. What I think happened is along the way, I learned how important it is to be somebody who can be a leader, but be a team player. Sometimes the team just needs somebody who can be a team player, right? And then you run into that. Well, and then it's personal stuff. Oh, I have to do this, but then it's for a bigger reason, right? Everybody uses it's for the greater good,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but then you look at it as a team thing, and you're like, you know what? We want to shit on them. I don't want them shitting on me, right? So now it's like, okay, I don't give a shit if I have to play catcher, or if I have to be the coach, or if I have to fucking be the bat boy, whatever it is. If that's what's going to make the extra fucking step, it's what I have to do,
I think
right?
that's the difference between a leader
Yeah.
and we'll say like a manager or whatever.
A
Oh,
leader,
like a boss and a
we
leader.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's and again, I always bring it to baseball and softball because that's what I was pushed through. But when I was a kid, my dad wouldn't let me quit. And then once, like I said, once I got older, I started realizing, and it wasn't him as much that was holding me there, but it was me holding me there. So nowadays, kids are like, it's too hard. I got a boo-boo. I fell down. I want to be like LeBron, right?
Oh, here
I
we
got to
go.
be good enough to get far enough to
Here we
fall down
go.
all the time. Actually, I seen a meme of him the other day, and I had to say this because it's funny. He was sitting there watching NHL.
Yeah.
He was watching, I can't remember who was on, but he's like scratching his head and he's got this confused look on his face. And I was like, oh my God, please tell me it says it. And I clicked on the fucking meme and it pops up and it goes, LeBron confused after hockey player got back up. And I was like, yes,
Yeah, I've seen that one,
absolutely.
actually.
That's awesome. Because that's the first thing I thought too. I was like, oh, he must be confused why that guy just stood back up. But ultimately, where I go with all of it is that they get so, like, kids nowadays aren't like their feet aren't held to the fire, right? That nobody is that real fucking parent that's like, I don't give a fuck if it's tough and you don't like it, you're gonna do it. Because to be honest with you, this is where you need your skills at. Like, you need to understand this a little bit more before you just quit, especially in team sports. I always hated it with team sports too, because growing up, I was forced to be good. It wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, I fucking live and breathe for this. It was my dad fucking mentally and physically exhausting me into being good at the sport, right?
Right.
And I wanted to quit. And at a certain point, my dad was like, okay, cool. You tell your team. I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to fucking do that. You call up the coach and say, hey,
And
he's good.
see, that's
And he was like, nope, tomorrow you can show up at practice and you can show up in whatever you want, but you get to tell the team. You're going to tell every single one of the kids on your team that you're done and that you don't want to play anymore. And I was like, you motherfucker. So I went downstairs and I got my ball gear rounded up, right? And I was going to do it. I was like, I'm going to fucking tell all those motherfuckers, you know? And then the next day I got home and I changed into my fucking ball uniform and like into my practice shit. And then we went to practice and never even fucking mattered. It was just a thought. But my dad had forced me for the prior 10 fucking years to go do this, that it was like, finally I showed up one day and it was just me. I showed up for me and my team.
Right.
It wasn't my dad forcing me to go do some bullshit. Right. So, and nowadays, as soon as you don't like the color of the uniform, or they work you too hard, or you think you should be in the best position because you think you're the best and all that shit, right? Like,
Right.
how many fucking Disney and Hallmark movies are there about the kid who thought they were the fucking best and they got their ass handed to them one time, right?
Right.
But now that doesn't happen because the kid never fucking does it long enough to fucking be in that scenario. Oh my God, I fucking went to basketball practice and I don't like it. I sweated and I'm going home. I'm not doing this again.
I'm going to blame it on parents.
Well,
So
you kind of have
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things. Like, as a parent, I said I'm a parent as well.
Yeah.
I said I have 2 kids, and there are those times, those moments, those days, whatever, where sometimes you're like, you know what, I'm going to take the path of least resistance.
Oh yeah.
And so,
Oh yeah.
so it's one of those things. Like if you as a parent, and I try not to do. I mean, I try not to be that way. Is my thing. But as a parent, if you're like, if you kind of like go, okay, about everything in life, then that's what your kid's gonna see.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, so when dad gets like a little stressed, whatever, he just kind of, you know, gives up or takes the
Yeah.
takes the path of least resistance on things. And I mean, that's what kids are seeing now.
I
I
think
feel more and more.
I think that is a very like I mean, and ultimately I've always heard that well, I'm gonna do everything that my parents didn't do for me. And then to me, my thought is
Ooh,
no, I'm gonna do the exact same shit my parents did for me because I'm a hardworking, red-blooded
Can we-
fucking American.
yeah,
Doesn't
can
give
we
two no
actually-
fun motherfucks about you and your fucking feelings
Yeah.
and everything else.
yeah, can we talk about that a little bit?
We can
Because
talk
you
about
say
it.
We
because
can
I
talk about whatever you
that
want,
actually
dude.
was something that came to mind to maybe talk about. Because again, as oh shit,
Yeah,
everyone being a parent here.
Yeah.
One
um,
smack, two smacks.
Because I've thought about that too, and you hear that all the time. Is people saying things like that, and I forget again. Pardon me if there's more educated people out there, but
I'm
wanna
sure
say
there
it
is.
is.
I want
I
to
mean-
say it was John Adams or one of those founding fathers guys who basically said something to the extent of like I study war so that way my son can study like politics and stuff, and then so that
Right.
way his son can study art and things like that,
Yeah.
to where it's like, so he takes the burden of his times in a sense, so that way his kids don't have to, and his future
Yeah.
generation don't have to. And I get the concept, and that is in the same vein of what you said, but I totally disagree based on from the thing,
Yeah.
the same
No,
thing
I
you
agree
said.
with
Like
you.
I like don't people don't grow, people don't get better at things like that. If our whole society was a bunch of people who were focused on arts,
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
it
You have
would-
to have
Yeah.
diversity in what
Ex-
everybody does.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it wouldn't be sustainable at all if everyone was a fucking musician or an artist or whatever. Then who spent the last 50 years focusing on war, or
Yeah,
whatever,
they.
is just gonna roll through if that was
Yeah.
the case. So it's like, no, you need hard
I love how it
people,
took them that
like
long to
raising
focus
hard
on it.
people.
Yeah, you
like-
have to have a balance with everything because not everybody's capable of
Yeah.
that. So my line with parenting is typically or is more the I hate it when people say, "Well, I'm not going to do what my parents did." To
I
me
fucking
that's
hate
not
that.
that's not right. What I try to do, and I'm by far not perfect, is
Mm.
I try to emulate the things that
Mhm.
my parents did for me that I meant something and did something that I can look back and say, yeah, no, that's why I'm here. This
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
they did for me.
Mhm.
Then I try to delete the things that when I was a kid and I still see now is like, why the fuck did they do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take a different approach, and
Mhm.
I hope it works. Because
Yeah.
because that's it.
No,
I mean, it's trial and error.
yeah, like
Mhm.
nobody's got this
Well,
figured out. Like,
that's one of the other quotes is that the whole time you think you're watching your kids grow up, your kids are actually watching you grow up.
Oh, 100%.
And so it's funny because my 3-year-old did something the other day and I was just like, yep, done that.
Mhm.
I was older than you and it was much more catastrophic, but I've done that.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
like,
Right.
but no, I think the biggest thing is like your parents turned you into who you are, right?
Yeah, they help get you there.
Or I mean, to a
Yeah.
point. Obviously, you have the outside influence and stuff that makes you who you are. But ultimately, if you have the right thought of like, I'm gonna do this with my life, you have that thought and you chase it down and you do that. Obviously, your parents gave you enough of whatever it was that you thought you needed to go do that. Now, and I'm not gonna give him the fucking dad of the year award any fucking year, but my old man beat on me all the time. Like it was constant, whether It wasn't physical a whole lot. There was a few of them, but most of the time it was.
Yeah, he also came from
an
an era where that wasn't gonna get you.
well, and he grew up without a dad, so
Yeah.
he didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
All right.
And to be honest with you, if I didn't have him, I wouldn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah,
Right?
you need your parents. I mean, and you
Yeah.
need both of them. You
hear
need them both.
these situations where people fucking land airplanes after the pilot has a heart attack, right?
Yeah, the one.
Well,
from,
when
like,
you're in a
couple
little
weeks ago.
fucking bush plane and you're sitting there and you're watching the guy for long enough and he has a heart attack, you don't think, hey, you know what? I bet you if we keep this stick in the right fucking spot, it's not going to go,
We're not gonna go.
fucking dive bombing towards
Yeah.
that volcano over there. You can kind of figure some shit out to get landed and figured out. Well, I mean, ultimately, it's the same thing. I watched my dad be a dad for fucking 30 years. I'm being a dad now. I'm maybe failing left and right too, but I'm still giving it the best chance I think I have to be a parent. And on top of that, I'm hoping that in 30 years, my kids are doing the same thing.
Well, I think
finding their right passage and everything else. If they don't, I have guns. I'll take care of it. It'll be fine. It won't be your guys' problem.
Well, I kind of view it as this: if we're going nuts and bolts, like the basis of parenting, it's all kids truly
Thank you, Carly.
care about at the core is they want to feel safe.
Mhm,
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and they want to feel that they're cared about.
mhm.
If they feel like
Yeah.
they're safe and they feel like they're cared about, all the other stuff will fall in line. They'll learn it. It may take a little longer. But they'll get there knowing that there's some sort of support there.
Yeah.
Because that's really what you go seek out and strive out. Because even when you look at kids who have a rough upbringing and they're like, no, this is my father figure, right? And it's like
Mhm.
the drunk down the street, but he's the one that showed some interest. You may
Right.
have picked up his habits, but if that's the one who came in and made you feel safe and feel
Right,
acknowledged in that,
Mhm.
that's kind of how you're gonna go because you're like, well, they care about me, right?
Oh, yeah.
So at least I know they care about me.
Which is, I mean, that ultimately to me is one of those things where it's like I could give a fuck less whether my kid is like an all-star or a one-star. I could give two fucks, right? The fact that you show up and you try hard and you do your best and it is what it is. Like that's to me, that's how it was. I showed up, I did my best, I did what I was supposed to, or at least I tried my hardest to do it, and then we went home and everything was fine. Now, not to say that I could have pitched a perfect fucking game, but I never hit any home runs, and that's what I got my ass chewed about on the way home. Right? Like I could do 90% of the shit
Yeah.
perfectly, but that 10% of shit that I fucked up on, that's what I was going to hear about. That's how my dad parented. You never heard the 90%. You always heard the 10%, right? So when
Oh,
you got home,
That's
you
going
beat
back to that
yourself up so
negativity
bad.
bias.
well,
Huh?
but that's what. But as parents, we're all guilty of it too.
Mhm.
You don't always look at what your kid did right. You look at what they did
Right.
wrong because in your head you're saying, I want to fix that. I want them to be better. And you
Right.
can't lose the man, you really
It's
did
the
well with
compliment
this.
sandwich.
Yeah,
You have to do the compliment sandwich. You
Yes.
can't not.
Yeah.
If you just hit them with all the negative middle pieces and there's no compliment on either side, I mean, hell, you could do a half a compliment sandwich. Tell them what they did wrong, but tell them what they did right.
Yeah, you
You
have to
know?
mix it all in
Yeah.
there.
Hey,
Mhm.
dude, you did a really good job pitching tonight. You threw a perfect game. That's awesome. That's the best thing you can do. But we got to work on your hitting a little bit, But and the thing for him was like we would climb in the truck and he'd be like, "Why the fuck did you do this?" And be like, "You know what? Because I'm not a fucking professional and there was a bunch of shit going on and how the fuck was I supposed to know I was going to pick off the guy at second instead of throw, I mean,
Yeah.
you get into that and it's like, why don't if you just kind of have a slower approach to it, great. And I'm not telling anybody how to parent. That's not I know I'm not I'm not excelling in that department. We have issues every fucking day that I'm like, I don't know how to handle this. And thank God I have my wife.
Wow.
Because there's some issues where I walk out of whatever room the kid's in and I look at her in the face and I go, this is yours, or we're gonna have to buy a new house because this bitch will be in a bunch of fucking little black wooden chunks at the end of the night.
Yeah.
once fire department gets done with it. Because I'm just like, I walk in, I see someone, I'm like, I could fucking kill you right now, trial.
Well,
Just like blow up. And she's like, oh, I got it, you know?
one thing I find kind of funny, and especially now, and I notice me and my wife have done this. I have not forced my kids or made them do all the things I did.
Right.
And so there's times I
Yes,
look at them.
you slightly fit into this because
Oh no,
your
I'm
kids still have things they want to do that you push them in.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I'm soft. I mean, when it comes to them, I'm gentle. My rules are very much. I'm an over explainer, so my poor kids
You
get a
mansplain like a motherfucker.
Yeah, they get a dissertation. I do. I totally do. To my
I think
kids.
that just comes from your job, though.
Yeah, well,
How many years you've had to explain to fucking 10 people the same fucking thing
well,
right
but
behind each other?
for most of them, especially with my kids, especially
Ooh, I
with
got
my,
to see him snap the other day. Luckily, it was at me.
Oh yeah, I did snap at you. Yeah, it happens on occasion.
It
Not
doesn't
often.
normally happen, and I think it's the first time he's ever done it to me. It was kind of, I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's
But the guy who was standing next to me was like, oh shit. And I was like, I should have maybe gone into this question with a little bit more information. And I kind of looked at him like, you motherfucker. And away we went.
Yeah. Well, but that goes back. I let my kids pretty much do for the most part they want, but if they're involved in something, they have to give their all. They have to do it, try to do it right to their best ability, and they have to see it through. Because those were, like you, those were the things I were taught. And one of the best ways is, I don't know who I'm waving at, but hello.
Carly.
Hi, Carly. Was accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you talk about that, when you wanted to quit and he said, okay, then you got to tell everybody you quit.
Exactly.
Well, I did the same thing. I didn't want to go to football practice.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And so my dad finally got pissed off. He said, well, you still got to go turn in all your shit. So get your ass out of bed and go turn your stuff in and tell him you quit. Unlike you, though, I did. I was like, oh, all right.
Said hi, by the way.
So I took all my stuff in and turned it in and I quit. And nothing's worse than you doing that and having the coach look at you like, and I was not a great player by any means, but was like, you could tell the disappointment, not like, oh, thank God I don't have to deal with this kid anymore. It was like, are you sure? But that fuels me later on that's one of those moments where later you look at it, that fuels you to push through some other things because you're like, man, that was tough and it was okay. It was tough, but I got to see my shit through. Like I can't.
It is one of those things that I would suggest as a parent now watching it, that if you're going to allow them to quit whatever it is, right? Which I don't, in my house, when she gets old enough or when they both get old enough, the thing will be you either play a musical instrument or you play a sport, because I want something to take up your time other than fucking phone calls and, stupid shit that doesn't mean nothing. I want there to be some kind of structure. And luckily in our area, the school, our school divisions, they all very well take into sports and music styled stuff. So, and I could give a shit less if she wants to stand up there and be part of choir. That's great.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick up a piece of musical instrument or a sport if you're going to be in choir. That's fine, but you need to make sure that when it comes time for my ass to sit in a goddamn gymnasium, understand that when you hit that right note, I'm gonna be out there. That's my girl right there. That's my girl. I'm gonna be shouting it out. I don't give a fuck what song you're singing at the moment. I'm gonna fuck it up because I'm gonna be coach. I'm gonna be, it's football. I'm gonna be in there banging the sticks together and ringing the cowbell and shit. Because that's how I know how to fucking cheerlead for someone.
That's what you do, and they're your kid.
Exactly.
So you're gonna be the one that she's gonna be like, oh fuck.
God damn it, Dad made it to this one.
Embarrassing.
Oh yeah. Well, but
Right.
again, you don't grow.
I'll be the dad with the choir student who I drop her off at school and I'll crank the tunes up to like some goofy ass song, and I'll just be singing it, jamming, and she's like, "Oh my god, Dad, stop, please!" She like try to roll the window up, I'll be locking that bitch.
But it's like, as everybody says, you have to be uncomfortable to grow. You don't grow out of comfort. And so that goes back to, you have to be accountable and you have to see stuff through. Same thing. My oldest, we put him in T-ball and baseball. He did it for 2 years. I was shocked he wanted to do it the second year because he didn't really seem to like it the first time around. I will give him credit though. He saw it all the way through and never once said, I quit or I don't want to go, even
Right.
though you knew at times. But as
You
soon
knew
as
he didn't want to, but
yes, he went,
yeah.
he did what he was supposed to do. And
This is the oldest boy.
yeah,
This
and
side?
at the end of it, he he actually didn't even say anything at the end. We kind of figured, but when it came around the next year, we asked, and he's like, "No, I don't want to do that. Please don't make
Yeah.
me sign up for that."
Well, and that's the best part too, because I seen when we went to the batting cage with him that one time, you could tell he wanted, like he did, but he didn't want to be in that situation of the team thing. Like you knew he wanted to try. Like you could see him, and especially the second time after he hit the first time, and you were kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna keep hitting, and he was like, well, can I do it again?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, so there's a spark of
Mhm.
something. Like he wants to do it. It just there's something that makes him uncomfortable in it.
A lot of it for him is, and it's a mindset, and a lot of kids have this, and so I try to help work him through it, is he's very hard on himself if he doesn't walk in and he's not good right away.
Right.
So he struggles with it. And he's a little bit of a perfectionist when he does stuff. So if he, and that's the problem, instead of being okay with not being good, right? And he struggles a little bit to work through it. It takes a little more time with him. So
Right.
he's more apt to, because he knows he has to see it all the way through. Like, I think me and him had it out when he was very young once.
Yeah.
It was like, I think he got the, don't ever ask me to do it again if like this is the attitude you're gonna have, and you're not gonna participate and you're just gonna be mopey and crappy. I'm not taking you to do these things if this is who you're gonna be. It's not fair to the people you do it with.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't want to say waste my time. I want to spend time with you and do things, but this is not how we're gonna do it. We're not gonna take time out of our day, both of us, to just be upset and pissed off at each other and not want to be here. So we're going to find things we want to do. So if you don't want to do it, you have to tell me up front, I'm out.
Yeah, you have to let me know. And the biggest thing, like when I was doing baseball, right, as a kid growing up, I told my mom one day, I was like, Mom, I don't know that I want to play baseball this year. And my mom like looked at me like, oh God, no. This is gonna suck, right? And so, because she knew it was gonna piss my dad off, even though my dad was gonna let me, but he still had requirements.
Yeah.
I don't have to play baseball, but I have to do something. Can't just sit on my ass and be worthless. I have to do something, right? And so his something to baseball season was, okay, well, your uncle needs some help at the farm, so you can go over there and help him with that. I was like, fuck, because I already did that. I did that anyways. But now I got to do it more. Like, shit, this is work I don't know that I want to do, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of had this little knockdown thing. It was nothing special. I mean, I wasn't, but just like 10-ish. I was still a fairly young kid. It's not like we got in a fist fight over it.
No.
It was, him sitting there like, you don't realize how good you are at this sport. You're doing very good. I push you hard because I know you're good at it. I push you even harder because I feel I had a chance to do something good with it, but I know you do.
Right.
And I never realized that until I was probably 16. And well, it would have been a little younger than that, because it went from league ball as children to school ball.
Right.
That's where that big step is made. Well,
Yeah.
right before we get into school ball, all the kids on the team above us in an age bracket that was more than us was like, no, 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 the cutoff's on this date. He has to sign up and play on our team. Like they were like trying to fucking get everybody. Oh no. And then once they were like, no, 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 the cutoff date is right. He's in the right league, blah, blah, blah. They
Yeah.
were like, well, can't he sign a petition to come play in our league, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And all the people at the sign up desk were like, well, yeah, I mean, it's up to his parents. If they want, you know, if they're okay with that, he can do that. And I looked at my dad and I was like, I want to get better before I go there. Like, I don't want to be like, they see me as this good ball player, but I want to be better when I
Right.
step into that ring, right? I don't want to be the guy who steps in as this good ball player and gets my ass handed to me because I don't know what I'm doing. I want to learn the things I need to do. I don't want to continue to practice them until I get into them. My dad was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. You can play in the league you're
Yeah.
supposed to." And so my kiddo is an extremely good swimmer. She's also, as far as I can figure, ambidextrous because she can throw just as hard with her left hand as she can with her right. And I'm like, okay, so we're not buying you a mitt for a couple more years.
Yeah.
First switch pitcher in history.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure she could do it, man.
No, that's awesome.
She's impressively smart. This is the other thing that I realized that she's probably not my child because she is super smart. That 3-year-old is amazingly intelligent.
Oh yeah.
She's gonna be one of those kids that you have to put in those accelerated classes or whatever.
But they're doing away with those
Are they? I don't know.
I think they are actually.
because it's not inclusive to the stupid kids.
Oh, it's another one of those feelings thing?
Yeah.
Nope. Here's where I land with this whole thing, and I'm sure somebody's gonna give me some shit.
No. Well, maybe outside of
Feelings are not verified because they are fucking feelings. They are not facts.
No, they're not facts, but you have to be conscious of feelings. But it's okay. See,
No.
here's where the problems with the
Since
feelings
when?
go.
Hold on. I'm gonna say this real quick. Since when was the fucking tiger, lion, cheetah, whatever, ever accepting of the feelings of the gazelle?
Well,
Not a fucking once.
we're not tigers and gazelles, and I don't know who.
Whoa, what the fuck was that? That was trippy.
That's a new one. But what I will say,
I understand this to a point because, like, I get that we're more
we're more
intelligent.
evolved than that, right?
Exactly, yeah, yeah,
Allegedly,
yeah.
we're more evolved than that. Allegedly,
Supposedly,
no.
yeah.
Here's where
feelings only cause problems.
feelings are valid and have to be acknowledged, but here's where the feelings thing goes sideways. It's okay to not have good feelings all the time, and that's where the feelings thing gets thrown. It's okay for a kid to feel bad.
Yeah,
it's okay. That's how you learn and get better, is when you feel bad. I had once I pissed me off in a teacher's or in one of those parent teacher conferences. I had a teacher tell me, well, he's just got to learn that, some of the other kids aren't as fast as him and he just has to wait. And it's like,
no.
Why don't you give him something else to do if he's capable? Your job as a teacher is to push him to be better.
Yeah, if that was the case, we wouldn't have the Olympics.
Right. At the same time, you as the teacher...
Hey, slow down. You got to wait for the fat kid on skis. Slow down.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's your job as a teacher to juggle, to help the person who's not as fast get there or do it as a speed. It's not...
But not at the expense of the other end.
The kid who's excelling.
Spectrum, yeah.
So you as the teacher have to find a way to balance that. But that's why you see a lot of, through the generation I grew up, being 10 years off, and it's still some, but when I grew up, there was a lot of kids, the really smart kids. I saw a ton of them. They got burned up on drugs and everything else because they were bored, because nobody pushed them to use what they had. They were bored. It was too easy. They didn't. So they found other shit to do with their time. And typically it was way more destructive.
Carly says it's
true.
normal, but people act like it's supposed to be happy rainbows and puppy dogs all the time.
And that's where instead of that's where the problem is. Instead of acknowledging the feelings and giving them tools to deal with them
Yeah.
and saying, yeah, it's okay for you to be upset about this.
Look, things like the chainsaw and the locomotive were built, right?
Right.
Little Timmy's out there struggling to pick up the fucking axe to chop down the tree, and they were like, "We got to speed Timmy up. This is bullshit. We're
Yeah.
losing money. Let's go." Hey, what if we take this saw blade, wrap it around a bar, hook a fucking 2-stroke to it, and see how fast he moves it? Oh fuck, Timmy's passing everybody. Let's give them all 2-stroke fucking cutting saws, And next thing you know, everybody's moving. You're doing proficient.
Yeah, look,
but
you can't succeed without failing, and that's
Exactly.
where the feelings go wrong. Is we're teaching children and everybody that they should only have good feelings. It's like, no, it's
Yeah, no,
okay.
fuck
That's
off.
why you have an array of emotions.
Just sit in your safe space. I want to. This should be a check mark thing on a fucking job application. Do you need a safe space? Yes, not getting the job. No, getting the job. You know what I mean? Like that's one of them things. Because here's it. Not that everybody doesn't have their safe space, because you do. Everybody has that, whether it be in your car, sitting somewhere, just hanging out for a little bit, listening to some music, and just clearing your head, whatever it is, right? A padded room with microphones and camera equipment, I mean, whatever it is.
Well, you have to have a
find
release.
you find your safe space, which is ultimately just what it is that you do to let all that shit go, right?
Doesn't even have to be like a literal like physical place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
like
could just be a
mindset.
mental something that you have to do to clear your shit out, right?
yeah. Sometimes it's going and sitting in the car, turning the radio way up, and closing your eyes for a few minutes, just out in the parking lot, to just be like, oh,
right. Sometimes it's taking lunch.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You fucking work all however many fucking weeks, and that 1 week is just a little bit too much. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna go take lunch and just kind of clear my head for a minute.
Yeah. I've told more than one person, hey, just go take a walk.
Yeah.
It's okay. Go take a walk.
Hey,
walk away.
We have these really cool things at our work. It's called a golf cart. Go, just go drive around the lot for a minute and just kind of get some cool air and just look at some stuff. I mean, you don't even have to just go out there and just drive around for a couple minutes. Maybe that's all it is that changes the whole fucking day, And I feel like at some point in time, everybody's a counselor at work too.
Well,
right?
but
Because everybody's like, oh man, this fucking weekend, let me tell you, this and this happened. Just shit went downhill. And then your coworker's like, yeah, man, I totally get it. It kind of sucks. Like, I agree with you. That's kind of a shit deal, whatever. Sometimes just that 10-minute conversation, everybody's a counselor. You talk to them for 10 minutes and fucking away you go. And maybe that's all you needed.
Right.
But that goes back to, it's okay to have not happy emotions.
But yeah,
But that's the reason it causes so many problems now, though, is when a child or somebody walks up and they're like, I'm upset. And you're like, nope, you can't be upset. It's not allowed. Well, no, that's what they're told. They're like, oh,
we have we have 2 viewers on TikTok.
Whoa.
We have Carly and I don't know his name. But his screen name is Peter, it's Peterbilt Flatbed.
Okay.
And he's a tow truck driver out of New York.
Oh, nice.
And he says that his safe space is playing on the side of the highway. So,
Wow.
and Carly writes and listens to music or a podcast. She's pointing out.
Oh, that's true. Well, we have I think we have one on Instagram, and it's Jessica.
Oh, Jessica's back, huh?
Yeah, she hops in. I mean, we must not offend her too much. So she's listened to quite a few. So a listener that Eric brought us, but she hops in and listens. But again, though, it's relatability too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the difference. I think you have to teach people, how to be relatable, how to deal with what they're going through, and that it's okay to go through it. That's what creates the biggest issues. Is so many kids grow up being told it's not okay to feel this way.
Right.
But they're not told.
Well, that was a big thing when back more in your time, and partially into our time.
Yeah.
Being a different sexual opinion.
Oh yeah.
right? Like I'm not saying, hey, go chop off your junk and whatever,
No,
but
you
in
don't
the
have
whole
to.
being gay or straight was a huge thing, and back
Oh
when
yeah, you weren't.
our parents were kids, that was like, nope, what's wrong with you? We'll send them
Yeah.
off. We'll send them to wherever, military school. I think back
We'll
then was the
we'll
big one.
pray it out of them. We'll send them
Mhm.
to boot
Yeah,
camp.
right.
Well, it was.
I believe the statement I heard, and don't fucking blow me up on this. The one statement I heard, and it was a very derogative term from back in the day, was, "I'll beat the queer out of him."
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't think that's gonna happen.
yeah.
But that was a big one. Like the
Yeah.
whole sexuality thing was a huge thing before, much before our time. Obviously nowadays it's not. It's if I can probably run into a gay person once a day and not even know it. So I
It's
mean, who gives a shit? But
well, you can take from sexuality. Isn't like the normal one we've
well, we
had.
still have internet, eh?
Yeah, no, we do. That's why I said I don't know what happened there. It just
Is it still going or no?
yeah, we're back. It that one was different.
In that case, since it was requested, oh, I even got some foam on my mic stand and my pant leg. Apparently,
I was a little excited there.
yeah, that one wanted all of the ASMR right there.
But no, yeah, there's a bit of the I don't know. Nobody ever. It's the fact that we have to label it and point it
Kobe!
out.
Kobe.
That was a pretty nice shot.
Left-handed, even. Did you see that shit? That was like, bam!
There's a stranger in
Money?
the house.
That's money, dude.
So
Where
yeah,
were we?
Yeah, we
that
were-
was such an amazing fucking shot
yeah,
right there.
you
I
got your
can't even-
beer
I'm
can in the
fucked up
trash
now.
can, so it's like, oh my god,
Oh,
the amazing
yeah!
things. No,
And the crowd goes wild.
here we go.
Well, well, here's my question, Dave. How old are your kids?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay,
Oh,
so
they're at a great age.
yeah, so
They're at a-
you're running into
A
that
wild age.
exactly that like craziness stuff.
I'll be honest, I miss that age.
Do you?
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure you miss being able to just one hand them into your arms and tickle them and shit. Because
No.
your kids both are. Well, the one of them, he's old enough now that it's like you got. He's
No,
becoming a young man. I mean,
yeah, there's no. My younger one, the 7-year-old, I can still do that too.
Can you?
And he's a little guilty of it. It's so weird not to cut you guys off. For whatever reason, when we go somewhere in public, like that kid is pretty independent and for the most of the part really doesn't want two shits to do with me most of the time. No, it's just how he is. I mean, the shit he says to me sometimes, I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? But when we're out, if we travel or we're in public or anything like that, he is attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's, hey, dad, pack me around. It's like, dude,
Ah,
you're 7, you can walk.
yeah.
You know, but there's a little bit of that. But he's little though. He's skinny and he's getting tall, but he's skinny and everything else. And I can still pack him around. And that apparently when we're out and about, I am the safe space for him. It's like,
yeah.
Dad, pack me around. It's like, oh, he likes to do that.
Yeah.
So, but no, you have the great age, partially because of that. It's
Yeah. Well, I think the flip side, though, in my case, it's just that my 4-year-old is fiercely independent, and
but that's so
and
much
he
fun.
just like he can entertain himself, however, wherever, get into trouble, all sorts. And he obviously like both of them are. I'd say they're daddy's boys or whatever. Like,
Right.
they always have been. But the 3-year-old, like it's just like he is fucking attached to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be next to me, in my lap,
Mm-hmm.
in my arms, on my shoulders, something all the time. And it's just it's a struggle when just like one is the exact opposite. And I'm like, there are just so many times where I'm like, why can't you be like your
Well,
brother where
you're
where you
right.
could just entertain yourself? Like I don't, like I want a path of least resistance here in a moment.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I got lucky. Both
Yeah.
mine are. We can all three be in the same room, and probably
What
won't
up,
sit.
fam?
Yeah.
Just say a
Well,
word.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, there. I always get the like when we go somewhere, or I always made the joke about my older one, but it applies to both of them. I could leave the room. I could probably leave the house, and they wouldn't realize for a solid hour
Right.
that I was even
Yeah.
gone. So
See, mine, like, to the point where she's yelling at me. I'm trying to come down here and do the podcast, and she's yelling at me from the living room to keep my attention long enough.
oh yeah.
And finally, I'm like, okay, yeah. And I shut the door and I run down, but.
I would tell you that's more of a little girl thing, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's definitely daddy's little girl.
Yeah, because
She is my little princess.
yeah, she wants your attention locked in all the time, and I think that's way more of a girl thing. Because even my niece, my oldest niece, who is an adult now, when she was little and we would watch her, you had to do everything with her. Like if it was like,
That's my niece is that same way.
yeah,
Yeah.
hey, I want to color. Okay, you get them all the stuff out, you set them up at the table, you even sit next to them, and they're like, "Are you gonna start coloring?"
Yeah, they like start to color and then they like eventually they stop and they look at you like, you have a fucking crayon, bitch. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
You know, or even to like whatever she was watching. She loved this Sailor Moon cartoon, and like, but you had to be engaged in watching it with her. She was like, "What are you
Oh,
doing?"
yeah.
And you're like,
Oh, yeah.
"I really don't want to watch this. I turned it on to keep you entertained, right?"
Right.
No.
Man, I don't know why, but I keep yawning tonight. Lights are dimmer or something. I don't know, but
Well,
it's
you
bad.
don't have that light on, the one behind your phone. That kind of gives you a little blast to your, a little bit of the wake.
I don't think it's plugged in. No, it's not. I'll deal with it later.
I didn't yawn until you brought it up.
Uh-huh.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
I don't know, for whatever. It's been kind of a busy day. We went. Carly loves Sailor Moon, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
My thing
Oh,
was.
yeah. So does Jessica. Fuck yeah, Sailor Moon. Here I go.
Hey, here's old Casey just fucking that up.
Yeah, well, my wife loves Sailor Moon too. So
Yeah.
apparently I picked the wrong one to bag on a little bit.
I don't know. With my 3-year-old, some of the stuff is like with us playing softball and everything. She's been to a few games, and this year's been kind of rough because we have all late games.
Oh yeah.
And so she's wanted to go. And I got to tell you, I broke her heart the other day, and I didn't even realize it until after the fact, until like a couple days later. I was just like, oh shit. Like it just clicked into my head because I was thinking about how cute the gesture was, right? And then I was like, and I totally just fucking destroyed that, right? So I'm getting ready to leave for the softball game. And she comes around and she's like, Dad, wait. And I'm like, what? And she goes running into the kitchen because we were talking about them eating dinner. And
Yeah.
I won't eat before the game because I don't want to puke at first base.
I get you.
She runs into the kitchen. She opens the fridge door. She grabs out 2 cheese sticks, shuts the fucking fridge door, and she comes running as fast as she can back to the front door. She goes, take these, and holds them up like they were the fucking Olympic torch. Take these, and like hands them out there. And I was like, oh, I would, honey, but I can't eat before the game. I'll end up being sick. And she was just like, oh, okay. And I was like,
You
God
son of a
damn it,
bitch."
you fucking
Look,
animal.
You know this rule. If the little girl hands you the teacup and tells you to drink, you are now part of the tea party and you
Yeah.
drink.
I don't know. I don't give a fuck how scary, big, and tough you are. If fucking 3-year-old hands you a pink cell phone, you answer that phone call to mommy, even if she's 10 feet from you.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
And I
Yes.
fucked that up completely. But
It should have been like, oh, thank you, honey, so much. Take the cheese
Mhm.
stick. I'll eat them at the game. I don't care if you go throw the thing in the dumpster.
Uh-huh,
You
yeah.
walk away with those
Yeah.
cheese sticks.
And I screwed that up, and I should have. But so now, and the funny part too is like bedtime's at 9 o'clock, right? So at about 8:20, her and I go into the bathroom. She goes potty, and then we brush our teeth, and then she goes in and picks out a book, and Kara normally reads a book to her, and then she goes to bed. So on the nights that I'm not here for that, for mainly our Sunday or our Monday nights when we're doing softball, we read a story before I leave. Or if I can, I'll talk to her for a good 10-15 minutes, just sitting there with her on my knee, and we just kind of going back and forth and that kind of stuff before I leave. Because I leave here about 7:45.
Yeah.
Gives me about an hour
Yeah, get
to
you warmed
warm
up.
up, get my cleats on, do all that kind of shit. Think of the lineup, who's playing where, who do I have, who do I not have, that kind of shit. We'll do a little bit of a story, or we'll just sit there and BS for 10-15 minutes before I leave, that kind of stuff. And that has made the difference, because when we don't do that, come 9 o'clock, she's not a happy camper. And
Oh, yeah.
mama ends up fighting with her until I get home at fucking God only knows what time.
Yeah.
Or until finally she's just so exhausted she falls asleep. But it's like, shit.
Well, she didn't get her dad time.
Right. And that's the other thing too, is I mean, we hit the whole, your parents turning you into who you are, but when they're not there, it's like this huge issue, right?
Well,
Dave,
I wonder.
you have a custody agreement, correct?
Right.
So you have your kids some days and don't have them other days. Is it difficult when you have them and they do something a specific way? I mean, it's got to be a little more challenging.
It can be, but the flip side of that is, like as effective communication to say, and just be on the same page, like with my ex-wife, to where it's like, hey, like wind down for bedtime is 7:30.
Right, the
Then
co-parenting thing.
yeah, so and then it's like, okay, and then this is like the bedtime routine. Let's keep it consistent wherever they are. So that way it makes it a lot easier on both of us. Is to just try to be on the same page. Like, it doesn't always work
Right.
all the time, but
Co-parenting isn't always effective, but it can
yeah.
be.
But it can be. It's
Yeah.
as difficult as you make it, in a sense.
Right. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate when some people are like, "Oh my god, this or that, or I can't do this because then if the kid says anything, then
Well,
the
I mean,
wife or the ex-wife or the ex-husband is going to be a fucking nightmare and blah blah blah." And it's like, get the fuck over it. You guys have realized at this point, because you're separate, that you didn't work well together, but you still have to work together
right.
to be well for the child.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Like, that to me is when I see two parents who do stupid shit, like, oh, I'm just gonna pump them full of candy and send them back to their mom's house, or I'm gonna fucking
That's
fill them full
bullshit.
of these bullshit dreams to fucking, and then go to their dad's house and they're gonna hate it and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking co-parent together. Jesus fucking Christ. You two did your things and you figured out that you didn't work, so great. But quit fucking up the kid. Like, god damn it, we have a future in front of us, and eventually these little motherfuckers are gonna be running an office and all this other shit. Quit fucking them up.
Well, yeah, it's got to be about the kids, not using them as a weapon to try to hurt the other person with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rule number one, like, has to be like, hey, we love our kids. Like, everything has to be like in their best interest.
Yeah.
Or in their well-being. Like,
Right.
that's like,
Yeah.
it's like,
And-
if you don't have that as your foundation to like your co-parenting, then you're fucked. Like, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. No, I couldn't. To be honest, I couldn't imagine. I wouldn't want to have to do the co-parent thing.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. In more in the fact because in divorce agreements anymore, it's like it's usually explicitly put in there now that you can't say anything negative about the other parent in front of the children.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
So
What
back in the
is
day,
it?
it used to just be
Defamation
that
of
was kind of like
character.
a given that you wouldn't or you shouldn't do that kind of thing.
Right.
But anymore, it's explicitly in there in most divorce agreements that you can't talk smack about the other parent in front of your kids. And there's just sometimes where I'm like, God, I would love to,
Yeah.
like, but
All
but
right.
Yeah,
but
you
yeah,
have to.
you have to hold your tongue on a lot of things.
Yeah, I would.
I gotta give it to it though, or give it to the ones who try, because co-parenting is a super fucking hard deal, and
Well,
the ones that try, those ones, that's the real sport there, because that, I mean, if you're at least trying, yeah, maybe you're not doing the best, maybe you failed somewhere or whatever, at least you're fucking trying, because there's a lot of people who are like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get smokes, and they don't come home, and
right.
that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, but that's something like if it'd be way different, say, if we'd gotten divorced and children weren't involved or whatever. But I mean, we had kids together, so it's like they're in my life now. You got like, I couldn't fathom, like abandoning my kids, especially since they're not in front of me. Given who their mom is, some days I'm just like, you know what? I really wouldn't be comfortable with her being like the sole person
Yeah,
rearing and raising these
Oh yeah.
children.
right.
Like they need dad like in their lives.
Jessica says co-parenting sucks balls, but kids come first.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-parenting I'm sure does suck balls. I've watched
Yeah.
enough people go through it. It's
Well,
like,
I
It is.
mean,
it's
you're
just
still co-parenting even
Well,
as
even when
married,
for sure.
but
right, but
at
I
a
mean,
different level.
yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
two
not saying
different.
it's.
I'm not
to an
gonna lie.
extent.
The other day, my wife is fucking pregnant, right? Like we're going
Right.
on the fucking Jesus Christ, are you pregnant?
Yeah.
And she'd had enough. She'd had a long fucking day, and what she said over top of the child probably wasn't the correct thing to say, but she'd had enough of, and it was a long fucking day, and I get it. But I'm not pregnant, and when I heard it, I was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Like I wanted
Yeah,
to pop
you're.
up and just smack her in the mouth, right? And I got it, and I said something to her, and she was like, "You do it all the time," and I'm like, "No, I don't do that." Like that, yeah, I'll call her a turkey or a little turd, or whatever, but it's normally in play, even though I know it means more than that. It's normally like, oh, you little turkey, silly turkey, whatever it is. But you come across those things where you're just like, yeah, we're not gonna do this again.
Yeah.
Don't
No.
don't fucking say shit like that to our child, because I may be liable to. You're not up, you're not going through the world's worst fucking day, I may stand up and be like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And
Yeah.
we may have fighting words going down,
We may have problems.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's like you're each gonna, and the way I see her parent, I feel is soft and this like cuddly, like, "Oh, it's okay. You did something bad and we'll learn about it, blah 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 blah." And I'm just like, "No. What you did was fucking wrong. Go in your room." Like it's a sharp, harsh
What
fucking
was
boom.
and what was like tough for in my case is when I was married and stuff was that like she same way like I was the disciplinarian
Yeah.
kind of thing to where you'd always be like, you deal with this, Dave. or like
Yeah.
Lucas did this,
Get in there, grizzly bear
yeah,
Dave.
like he did this, like you need to punish him. And I'm like, okay, you want me to like punish
Let
him
me
for
eat
something he
some
did 6
spinach
hours
first.
ago?
Yeah,
Like
you can't.
and what like they're not gonna understand. Like or whatever. Like it doesn't make sense. Like if you correct the behavior then and there, like come on.
Yeah. Well, and in the whole case of the form too, is it's like when it happens right in front of you, you're gonna have a reactionary discipline for said whatever action it was, right? After the fact, it's just we're gonna need to talk about this, right? I mean, because you still want to cover the base of yes, I'm not happy with you. It wasn't exactly what you shouldn't have done this, but it's not that reactionary point of discipline of, putting him in timeout right then and there or whatever,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that needs to happen. I think
Right.
is that. I mean, if you don't explain, like,
Yeah, you still
you're,
have to have the
yeah,
conversation even after the reactionary thing. But
yeah,
if you weren't there to perform that reactionary thing when it happened, you still need to have that conversation because it's still, and even with like the 3-year-old, you still have to talk to him. You still have to let him know, hey, this was not okay. Don't do it again. Not like you could change anything from 6 hours ago, but hey, what made you? Why did you do this? And start going down that road of figuring out why and what and how and all this shit.
Yeah, you have to have the um you at that point you can't go in and discipline them, but you can still
right,
have a conversation with
Right.
them of,
yeah,
hey, this wasn't appropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
Why'd you do this? So going forward, know that this isn't going to be acceptable behavior. You know,
Right. Well, and a lot of it too. I love this. My favorite one is and it happened to me this past weekend. I got shushed or not shushed, but I got
mhm,
told to watch my language. And I'm like, because you cannot teach your child not to say something does not mean I need to hold my tongue.
yeah,
In the form of we're all adults here, and maybe the kid on the floor hears what I say. You should be able to teach your child that that's not okay. We have what's called mommy daddy words, and it's
yeah,
really funny because that backfires on me all the time because my mom will say something or my sister will say something or my dad, right? And she'll immediately go
yeah.
into reprimandation on them. She'll be like, that's a mommy daddy word and you can't say that. And
oh,
it's like,
that's
oh,
awesome.
Jesus.
That is
I'm not going to
hilarious.
lie. When I first seen the look on Papa's face when she told him that, he was like, what the hell? The look was great. But
Oh, see,
again,
I already have the line for that. If I was ever told that, if it was like your dad's situation there, I'd be like, yeah, and I'm his daddy, so
yeah.
Yeah,
Who do you think taught him that
yeah,
word at 5 o'clock on a Friday in the garage?
yeah,
But it's hilarious. But again, she knows you
yeah,
don't get to say these words. Mommy and daddy get to say these words. And when I get old enough, I can say these words. But right now, I can't say them. She knows that. It's been, and I always give her the benefit of the doubt, right? She says something. If she uses it correctly, I'm not going to come down on her
no,
like
and
a
you
bag of bricks,
can't,
but I'm going to look at her and be like, hey, next time be like, oh, dang it.
yeah,
Because that's a word that she could say and get away with. But fuck, probably isn't.
right,
I don't know. Like, I'm honestly, I think I'm to a point where I don't really like, I don't really care. Like, I don't actually swear that much. Period.
right,
Um, but it's one of those things like situationally,
yes,
like it's a thing. Like, so for instance, where we worked, um, at a landscape and irrigation dealer or whatever,
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
the way your customers speak
Oh, right,
Oh,
is
yeah.
is very much like cuss galore,
yeah.
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So where
Oh, yeah.
to actually like be sort of relatable to people sometimes
You have to
you have
speak
to
that
you have to
way.
speak that way.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they
Absolutely.
look at you. I mean, they don't trust you, or you're a robot, or you're whatever.
Yeah.
For I mean, it's one of those things. Like again, situationally, I think it has purpose. It's like I said, it's not condemning kids for swearing.
Right.
It's being like, hey, just as you get older, there will be appropriate times
Mm-hmm.
and inappropriate times to say it.
One of
oh
my
yeah,
favorite ones is the kiddo. We got her, or somebody got. I don't remember if it was us or her grandparents or what, but they got her um a wheelbarrow, a little radio flyer wheelbarrow to help in the garden and stuff, right? And she had loaded it all full of stuff, but then she didn't understand. Nobody had taught her how to use it, right? So she picks it up and she's carrying it through the baby gate in her bedroom, and she gets she's running into the gate and shit. She's like all jammed up, and she finally gets outside the gate. She drops the fucking wheelbarrow. It falls over. All the shit falls over, and she goes, "That some bitch is heavy." And I was like, "Oh fuck." Because I literally I was like, well, that's me.
yeah,
That's my fault. Yep, that's me 100%, right? I had to own
yeah.
it. and my wife, it happened to grandma. She's telling me the story after the fact on the phone, and I was like, I'm sorry, grandma. I'll work with this. But Kara calls me. She goes, "Did you hear what your daughter said today?"
Oh,
And I was like,
yeah.
"Yes, I
Yeah.
heard." And she goes, "So then you know why she's your daughter, then, right?"
It's
I
like,
was
hell
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, because some bitch doesn't just come out of everybody's mouth." And so, it was one of those things. Yes, it's heavy. No, don't say the word. Eventually, you'll be old enough to explain yourself in that form or fashion,
Yeah.
and I won't hold it against you. But you need to understand that there are those words sometimes when you say them because you think it's just like today. Where's the sprinkles? Oh shit!
Yeah.
It sounds rude to somebody else, to somebody who knows you. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're right. Where's the fucking sprinkles, bitch? Like you get
Yeah.
it too, but you have to have that. These are mommy daddy words because we've learned how to use them without being, you know, vulgar to somebody or being, and if we do, there's a reason for it.
Well,
She
right.
doesn't quite comprehend all of that. She's just using the words we use. And so we haven't once put her in timeout or given her any kind of discipline over it. It was simply, it's a conversation we have with her. Hey, that's a mommy daddy word. I don't want to catch you using it again. And one day she asked me, she's like, when do I get to use mommy and daddy words? I said, when you become a mommy, you can use mommy and daddy words. That's it. When that happens, then you're in. You'll be grandfathered into it, and I won't stop you one bit.
And that's fair. Yeah, for me, it's always been, I just tell my kids time and place. There's a time and place where you can. I don't particularly care at home, but when we're around other people, and you got to use it in the right context, and it cannot be gratuitous. That's what bothers me more.
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah.
and I get that with so when we have my teenage niece, when she comes and stays with us, and I notice it more now because she doesn't live with us anymore. And I'll sit there, I'll listen to them, they're talking, and she just gets really gratuitous with it. And she's just inserting it in there to
It's like I went
insert
to
it in
the
there.
fucking bank to
Oh my god.
withdraw
Yeah.
some fucking cash.
Yeah.
In this stupid fucking bitch.
I'm sick and motherfucking
Like,
tired of these motherfucking
yeah.
snakes on this motherfucking
Yeah.
plane. Yeah.
And so I have to be like, whoa, all right, enough. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, you don't have a real reason or purpose to be speaking that way.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's time and place. That's the biggest thing, I think. And I think that factors to everything. That goes to feelings, everything. Time and place. There is
Yeah.
a time and place for all of it. It's learning when that is.
Right. No, I
Get
would
there.
agree.
Yeah.
All right, now that we have exhausted people with our parenting prowess, we're gonna go into 2 weeks ago's Would You Rather. Dave, we do Would You Rathers.
But yeah. Yep.
You've heard.
Yeah.
You might have heard one or two.
Uh-huh.
So the one on Facebook.
I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah, well, I'd forgotten too. So I was like,
There's a lot of shit that happens in a week, let alone 2.
oh no, it's amazing. You'd think, oh, 2 weeks, not a big deal. That felt like the gap here felt like a long time. I'll admit, the first half hour, 40 minutes of doing this, it taken me a little bit to just get kind of warmed back up into doing it.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now. When I told you this, like Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was, I was like, when I texted you and was like, hey, when are we doing the podcast this week? And you were like, I think we should just take the week off. It's, holiday, blah, blah, blah. I was like punched in the nuts because I was like, man, this blows. Now I've got 2 weeks worth of fucking pin up aggression and shit that I need to let go here.
I knew it too. I was like, when you hit me with that text, I'm like, he's gonna hate me in about 2 seconds. When I'm like, nah, dude, I need the week off.
I didn't hate you. I was just like, man, somebody left my puppy outside in the rain.
Oh no, I get it, because even in my head, I'm like, I'm factoring in.
You said it, and I was like, I wonder how hard it was for him to text me that.
It was difficult. I was almost hoping, I was like, maybe he just won't ask, and we'll just slide on into the next.
Yeah, no, that wasn't gonna happen.
But I had to factor too. I'm like, okay, we got this going on, this going on. Oh fuck, man, there's really not a good day
The
to do
whole
this.
week was a shit house for both of us.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck, it was a shit show. But 2 weeks ago is Would You Rather? Would you rather have a 10-inch long belly button that swayed to music, or accordions for legs? And we only got Ray and somebody who commented on Ray's. So Ray says, I always wanted a 10-inch body part. And then Dave Preston said, so did oh wait, sorry.
Hold on. I think Carly just tried to answer the one from 3 weeks ago, which was the zombies or the dinosaurs thing.
Oh, okay.
So Carly, you're gonna have to pick dinosaurs or zombies, and this week's was
A 10-inch long belly button that swayed to music, or accordions for legs.
who was our answer? Ray?
Ray, who went, I always wanted a 10-inch body part.
I remember seeing that too. Yes.
Yes.
A 10-inch belly button that sways to music, or accordions for legs.
I'm gonna go with the belly button. I think accordions for legs would be like really impractical.
I don't know. They could be great though. I see, because I'm gonna go with the accordions for legs. Because I mean, could you imagine being able to step over as much shit as you would be if they were accordions? Right? Because they're gonna, you know.
But what if it's exactly the height you are now, but they just close up?
Oh, they get shorter? That would suck ass.
Well, that's
See, I'm thinking the other way, because when you're stopped and you're standing there, because when an accordion's just stopped and standing there, that's what it is. It's that one size. But then when you start to walk or you start to play music, right? That's when they get long. When they
Yeah, but it's going to
accordion
be
out
so
in.
unstable. Like, and then the next question I do have is, do the
Stabilize your
accordions?
muscles.
Yeah. Gotta work on your core. Get that core good and strong. You'll be fine.
Peterbilt says 10.
10.
That's his answer. He's out. 10.
He's out.
I just see somebody making weird home porn videos with their swaying 10-inch belly button.
Who'd be an OnlyFans with accordion
yeah.
legs or their 10-inch belly button?
I think if we're going on OnlyFans style, the 10-inch belly button's going to get you farther.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I don't know that I would be comfortable with hearing somebody say, fuck me with your belly button. You know, I don't know how I would feel about that.
I got 10 inches you can suck on.
Yeah, right. And then it turns into the whole, because it sways while the music's playing, right?
Throw on some thrash metal.
Exactly.
I don't know. That
Let's
could be a
listen to
good
some
time
screamo.
for somebody. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, it could make you like that much more pleasuring in the dark, you know, turn on some soft music and it's just over there doing its romantic little swing to the soft music, you know, right until you didn't realize what the mixtape was, and all of a sudden fucking here comes some head banging shit, and next thing you know, you're climbing up the fucking wall, and you're like, well, this went to shit in a handbasket real quick.
Well, see, what I was wondering about accordion legs was noise, though. So if you're moving around, but you got this annoying,
like every time.
that's the case. I'll go 10 belly button that sways to the music.
My thing is, could you imagine like kicking somebody? Like you go to fucking just Spartan kick somebody, and you have that extra fucking stretch.
Well, if I guess
Or that
if you
like
get the pull
compact
back and then,
power, like it just and you just fucking kick somebody in the head. Oh shite!
well, that'd be pretty good. I could probably roll with that.
For all those instances where we Sparta kick other people.
Hey, it might become a thing, right? Like you might just have to fight that way someday, and you may need that. And a 10-inch belly button is only going to put you in a shitty situation. And then grab a hold of that motherfucker, bang, bang. It's a 2-arm motion, but they got your belly button in a vice.
All right. Jessica says accordion legs. I'm not having a belly button hanging out that looks like a flaccid dick. No thanks.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Yeah, it may be 10 inches long, but it only thing it does is sway to music. It doesn't like get hard or poke straight out. No, it just like
Well,
lays
maybe
there.
you need the headbanging music. Maybe that's what gets it like really going, right? Gives you that like well, to me, I guess what would look funnier in person, like if you rolled up on somebody that had one of these, which one would you be more taken aback by, or disgusted by, or whatever?
Probably the 10-inch belly button.
Yeah,
I mean, like, bro, when are you gonna stop lying to her? Right? Because you know, dude's gonna be dating some smoking hot chick. You're like, okay, well, you're not rich. You don't drive like some fancy exotic car. You're not anything special, but you have a 10-inch belly button. That's nice. Okay, great. That's how you scored fucking, you know, the trim
Okay, and
you're with.
what are you scoring with accordion legs?
Anything. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to earn it.
a polka party.
You would have to fucking
You
earn
would
it.
be the shit at the family
All right.
reunion with the polka party.
A polka party.
Ooh, I think Carly changed her answer halfway through this. She said accordion, and then she says belly button. So I don't really know where she's at.
Well, I actually think I'd go accordion lace because I'm just thinking of this like gross kind of fleshy, not even penis, but have you've seen like skin tags, right? You know, when people
Oh,
have
yeah.
like skin tags. So
Yeah.
that's what I envision is this like 10-inch skin tag that just sits there and sways. And
See,
so-
I'm thinking more or less you get it caught in shit on like on an accident type of like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
hold on, let me hide my belly button just a second.
or an
Somebody's
earthworm.
playing music at a fucking funeral
Eh,
and your belly button is just sitting there going doing
Ooh, but
its
what if it
thing.
looked like the Cobra, like snake charmers, when they like, do that? You
Somebody
coil
starts
up
playing the fucking recorder and you're like, great, fuck now.
Here we go. I mean,
You stand up to cheer your fucking little girl's choir concert, and your 10-inch belly button hits some dude in the back of the head, and you're just like, yeah, woo. And he's like, would you put your shit in your pants?
just be like, it could have been my dick, homie.
Uh-huh.
Like, which one would you like? You look deep in thought over
I'm
there.
trying to read, but the letters on my shirt are making it hard.
What?
Because all the letters are in white.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
I can't say they disappeared. It's like lot, something else. I was like, shit.
Oh.
Accordion, LOL. You know how easy it would be for. That's where the I was
He's
like,
lost.
what?
Yeah, fuck it.
But yeah, I think I'm in on the accordion legs.
All right. Dave?
I still think I'm with the belly button.
Oof. Yeah, tiebreaker here. I think I'm gonna have to go accordion legs just because in my head I have this picture of like this fleshy earthworm type deal hanging off my belly button,
Yeah.
and to like a uncircumcised penis.
No, is that? But I don't ever want to. I don't ever want to have competition immediately right there. Like that would just be horrible.
Well, think about though having to keep it out of the way during the act, right? Because it's gonna hang down there, so you'd have to adjust it.
I think like anything you'd get used to it.
Just be what it is.
Yep.
Are we gonna do this? Yeah. Hold on. Let me get the duct tape. Tape it up.
Yeah. Well, then that takes it in the whole other realm, right? You get to that where you just deal with it. So you'd run into the people that it disgusted because it would. That's just how it would be.
Right.
They'd be disgusted, but then you wouldn't run into necessarily the person who could just deal with it. You'd have the one that was overly
The fetishist?
Would
yes,
exploit it,
that's
yes.
that was like
Exploit
a
the fetish of the
little
10-inch
yeah,
belly button.
too into it. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that it's like, are you really around for me?
I mean,
or
that's an
because you have
OnlyFans
a-
that's going
That's
to
an
be
Only-
pretty aggressive
Yeah.
right there.
It's like,
See, and the other thing too is with like the accordion legs, you could always clip like they have little locks on them so they won't extend, right? So you could just hook bungee cords and shit on to for stability. But if you just wanted to, if you were just walking around or whatever, you could just hook a strap to them so that you just walk around and. I mean, you'd be like Cotton on fucking King of the Hill, but
Right.
I kill 50 men.
exactly.
Fitty Tojos.
King of the Hill was great.
Every time now somebody mentions anything from King of the Hill, I'm just like, I'm gonna go down and get me a ball blast.
Oh,
That's the
my
only thing I
gosh.
can think of.
No, there that Hank Trill or the one I made you, the Swahili. They use the Hank Hill voice and he's like rapping. Oh, I'll have to find it. It's good stuff.
And, there's
I'm gonna
a
go
funny
down and sell some
thing.
propane. And
Yeah.
he like gets all into it.
Hank Hill like Pokemon battle.
Oh, I
You
have
should-
not
You
seen
should
this.
look that up.
Hank Hill Pokemon battle. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
this
who's
oughta
gonna
be
be in for
good.
that?
It's super weird.
Super
I can
weird.
see that. Like, I mean,
Oh shit.
well, I'm gonna say we are like 2 hours into this plus.
We better shut this one down if we want number 2 to happen.
We're gonna wrap up this one. For anybody on live feeds and stuff like that, we will be back in probably 10-15 minutes tops.
If we don't just hang 10.
Yeah, so we may be right back. Anyway, we appreciate everybody listening. Again, thanks to the Rhode Island listener to get us to those 50 states.
And all of the other listeners in the other 50
yes,
states
that's,
who did their work before Rhode Island.
I'm just saying thanks for putting us over the top. We appreciate all the longtime listeners that have been in it.
Maybe that's why we got a Hey Brock in today. Would you say it was for celebration of getting all 50 states?
Oh, well,
Because we haven't done a Hey Brock in for fucking ever.
Yeah, we need to do more of those. That's always a good one. I gotta come up with more questions.
Huh?
We can do that. Which leads me to, I think I may have a pseudo topic, at least 5 minutes worth of talking.
All right.
5
But
minutes.
yeah, which turns into 2 hours. That's how this works. But again, come check us out on everything. All the social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. We're in some form or fashion. I'd say reach out. We'd love to hear from anybody. So we appreciate Dave being part of this, and I'm going to hope he sticks around and does another episode with us.
Yeah, I'll be hanging out.
All right. He's in it for the long haul.
Cool.
It's always questionable.
Again, I'm here to one up Matt. So
Y'all,
Here to
okay.
one up Matt. Now we have to do 3 of them.
No. We'll just go hardcore this second one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there we go.
but we appreciate everybody for tuning in, listening, and again, come join the Dysfunction, and we will see you again soon. Thank you all.